All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 16th, 2025 Selectmen meeting. Start off the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to start the meeting off tonight with the Municipal Officers Workshop Business and Public Hearings. Our first public hearing is to address the vital space need requirements at Town Hall. Mike, want to kick us off with an explanation of this one?
Yes, thank you. As the board will remember at your last meeting, we brought to your attention the great need we have for space requirements here. We are just exhausted on space. We have a new employee joining us on October 7th. So with that, I had brought to the board's attention the idea of a mobile modular building that could serve for multiple offices and some meeting space that would be situated on the fringes of the parking lot. We've done an awful lot of internal searching and processing, and ultimately where I land tonight is that is a significant cost. There is no question about that it would be a 3-year engagement. It would not have water supply, it would not have a restroom. Talking with some of the people, I would certainly be the first one out there, but talking with some of the other people that I envision might be occupants, there was some concern appropriately expressed about no running water, no restrooms, and safety. So certainly respect all of that. So we started to look in other ways that we might be able to accommodate our staffing space needs. We are gently exploring even external office space. However, that always causes a problem that if our staff is separated, if I go somewhere else, I can't interact with personnel, with the citizens nearly as easily. So where we have landed would be to do some minor modifications to this building, recognizing it as a Band-Aid. But it's a Band-Aid that can last us for a year or two, maybe, as we finish up the facility study that you'll be hearing about in later October. So the thought process would be to take that small conference room and utilize that space as an office area where I would likely be. And it's sufficient for an office that I could continue to interact, and then make some adjustments where I currently, myself and Mary Ann reside, moving us around and moving Rebecca from the attic area to a safer spot. We feel we can do that. We feel we can do that for a fraction of the cost of bringing in a modular building for a 3-year commitment. And so my ask of the board at the appropriate time would be that where you're being asked to appropriate $48,000 from the facility maintenance and repair fund and up to $52,500 from the emergency facility, I would ask that you might consider appropriating up to $30,000, perhaps from the facility maintenance and repair fund. And that would allow us to make the modifications in this building that we feel would work well, and also provide some of the office furnishings that we would need to have put in place. A fraction of the cost of the ultimately $209,000 that it would cost us to have the modular unit that didn't really, it met our office and meeting needs, but I worry about also people with hygiene and things of that nature, and want to be respectful of that. So that would be where ultimately we would land, and I think that we could accommodate our space needs. I do emphasize it is certainly temporary for a year or two or so as we look at a broader picture of our space needs for years to come.
Thanks, Mike. We're going to open up the public hearing here for public comments first. Does anybody want to comment on the town, just on town hall space needs, not on? Thank you. Yes, Sue, thank you.
Sue Butler, this kind of, it's definitely related. So about a month ago, I saw on the agenda that did get tabled, but it was on the agenda, so I'm going to reflect on that. And that was on a purchase of 209 Sanford Road. And I happened to go by it before that topic got tabled, and I looked at that property and I thought, interesting. That property would be kind of ideal for Town Hall West and ambulance bays or maybe public works bays. And then I thought, the vision I had at the time was cart in front of the horse, since both of those topics are, have to go before the public. That said, I still think of those things as if that's still on the table or off the table, but in the table or in the mix. But about 5 or 6 years ago, I had a conversation with you all after the police chief and the fire chief got up, and they said, not using the word unsustainable, they said that they had to get more officers because we have grown unsustainably. And I got up here and spoke, and at least 2 of you, possibly 3 of you were here at the time, that they just described that the town's growing unsustainably in our comp plan that we don't pay attention to. I know that, and I know we will never pay attention to that. I know that as well. But it says we can't grow unsustainably. And I said, okay, so we've been growing unsustainably, and that was 5 or 6 years ago. And I know that they've come before you and gotten more offices, and I get it, because we have been growing, I get it. But I said at the time, we need to have metrics on what is unsustainable. We don't know what that is. We keep growing. We're very good at developing, very good at it. Not so good at planning, and I don't mean building plans, and I don't even mean the comp plan. I mean the plan, right? So like when we, get more people, like what's the plan? And I think we need to think about that, and I don't know who does it. I don't know if it's Mike Livingston, I don't know if it's Mike Purdue, I don't know but we need to have a plan of when do we know when we're growing unsustainably so that we can slow things down, or that we can take a look and say, wait a second, we need to kind of look at things, because this was 5 or 6 years ago and we're at where we're at. In 5 or 6 years from now, say we get new property, or we buy a new building, or we build a new building, because I think we're gonna have to. I do. I think the study's gonna show that. It will. But then we're gonna need it again, because there's a law called Parkinson's Law, and it happens to be something like, I'm gonna have to read it because I can never remember it off the top of my head. But it's something like, you fill it to the, I gotta find it, I'm sorry. No, I can't get it, but it's, if we're gonna fill that space, when we get new space, we're gonna fill it until we have to need more space, because it's there. So we'll get, Mike will say, oh yeah, we have space, oh yeah, we have space, and all of a sudden we won't have space. That's just the way it is. So you have to have a way to balance our needs better than we have. And I'm not blaming Mike, don't take that as a blame. I'm just saying that we just don't have a good handle on that. We don't have a good way, because we don't have good metrics that we're tracking, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Anyone else from the public wish to comment on the town hall? Seeing none, I take a motion to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? 5-0. Selectmen comments?
So Mike, you're not asking for a motion for $30,000 today, are you?
I would.
Yes, that's what-
Time is of essence, and so if you would be kind enough to be able to allocate that, I think we could begin some of our modifications immediately.
Okay, because-
And it would only be for the, out of the facility maintenance and repair fund,
Correct, I think
right?
that's a fair
And then
spot.
that would be it, the 30,000 right
That is
now to do
correct.
the, what you believe will be enough to be a
I
Band-Aid.
think we can make our modifications and be able to purchase a couple of office desk and needs through that.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think that's a good idea. I know that there's an issue in bringing somebody else on board, and you being up in the attic is not acceptable.
Right.
That's where we used to keep our old records. you know,
She won't
and it
agree to
wasn't-
the
it
fire
wasn't good for
pole to
them.
come down on, so.
Do you
So,
have anything else, Jim?
anybody else that want to ready for a
No, I
motion?
was just, had an issue, but I figured it out.
Okay, I move, are you ready?
Are we all set to vote? Yeah.
I move to approve and I move to expend up to $30,000 from the facility and maintenance and repair fund for improvements for the town hall office space solution.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on, next public hearing is the Yummy 2 Incorporated, doing business as East Restaurant, 636 Post Road, Wells, application for full-time beer, wine, and spirits liquor license. This is a renewal. Anyone from the public wish to comment on that? Seeing none, I'll take a vote.
I move to close the public hearing and grant the license.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0.
Sorry, Avery, you had the second on that?
Either one, let's give it to Joe.
Oh, John, thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Trade Jockey Enterprises doing business as Main Diner, application for full-time beer, wine, and spirits liquor license. This is a renewal. Any from the public wish to comment? Seeing none.
I move to close the public hearing and grant the license.
Second. Moving second, all in favor? 5-0. Next up, I have Seaglass Village Condominium Association doing business as Seaglass Village Homeowners Association, 1 Old County Road, Wells. Application for a full-time beer, wine, and spirits liquor license. This is a renewal. Anyone from the public wish to comment on this? Seeing none.
I move to close the public hearing and grant the license.
Second. Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0. Seaglass Village Condominium Association doing business as Seaglass Village Homeowners Association, 1 Old County Road, Wells. Application for a special entertainment permit, another renewal. Anyone from the public wish to comment on this one? Seeing none.
I move to close the public hearing and grant the license.
Second. Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0. All right, that brings us up to good news. Anybody have some good news?
I'd love to share just a little bit.
Sure.
Last Thursday on 9/11, certainly a day that we all remember. But we had an opportunity to bring staff together for an employee appreciation and recognition evening. And I want to give a shout out to Rebecca, who did a phenomenal job in planning that entire event. Some of you were able to attend. We actually provided 104 awards of recognition, recognizing that we had not been able to hold this event since 2021. We will be doing this annually because none of this matters without good people. And so we want to recognize our good people. And it was astounding. We handed out 44 one-year awards. People who had hit a one-year mark between 21 and now, all the way up to 40 years of service by Chief Putnam. And so it was absolutely phenomenal to have everyone together and just to be able to share in all of those moments. So thank you, and a great thank you to staff. And I think to see the longevity and the institutional knowledge that we pull from is absolutely amazing. And it speaks very well for Wells.
And if I could add to that, Mike, the employees got Mike as well, because they presented him with his award. And I'm gonna tell you, this is one of the first times I saw him tear up in public. It was just really impressive to see that list, and you said the words institutional knowledge. That's invaluable. It just is invaluable.
I thank you, Jim. I was very moved. Department heads did a wonderful job, and I thank them all, and I will continue to thank them for their support. And I acknowledge that night the board's support. We don't go anywhere without each other, and I think that Wells really exemplifies that.
Thank you. Anyone on the board with good news? You all set? All right, seeing none, guess we don't have great news. Next up,
Do you have any great news?
no, we
Not
lost
this
this
week?
weekend, I'm not gonna talk about it. Next up, we have open to the public. It's a 10-minute session where we open our time to the public. We have this twice, we'll have this right now and then again at the end. We ask you to try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. So we're open to public right now for any kind of comments.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Karen Ropes. I'm one of the 900 Wells residents who signed a petition a few months ago asking the town and the Wells Police Department to withdraw from the 287G contract with ICE. I'm a retired educator with nearly 50 years of experience, and I have had a real privilege teaching immigrant children and working very hard to build good, trusting relationships with their families. That's often very difficult. I do keep in touch with my friends and colleagues, and it's clear to me that this situation with ICE is having an impact on Maine schools and students. School districts across Maine are speaking out, informing parents, training teachers, updating procedural guidelines, given the federal government's stand that it will not stop ICE from entering our schools. A number of Maine school officials, have publicly spoken out, and it's clear that there will be no denial of FAPE, free, appropriate public education, regardless of immigration status. The effects on immigrant students and families with the 287G contract in Wells will likely foster a climate of fear among immigrants and their family and their parent, immigrant students and their parents. This harms the children's education. The negative impact of the children's school performance is being seen here in Maine. Current studies show that when law enforcement partners with ICE, there are multiple adverse effects on school children due to their fear and anxiety of family separation. These issues include a higher rate of absenteeism, declined academic performance, evidence of mental and physical health issues, and decreased enrollment among our high school students who may need to drop out to financially support their family. 287G contracts place a strain on school funding and community trust. School funding is frequently based on the daily average attendance and enrollment figures. Community trust between law enforcement and the immigrant community is crucial for public safety. Damaged trust can extend to other public institutions, including school environments. You may recall the high school student who spoke to us on this very issue last May. Stop and think, how will this possibly affect you and your family? Everyone deserves dignity. Is that my time? Okay. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to speak to you. I hope that you realize I feel very strongly that our police department does an excellent job. I am proud to be a community member in Wells. I do not believe we need a contract with ICE in Maine, in Wells, Maine. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Hi, my name is Cheryl Dearman Mills. I'm a resident, also one of the 900-plus people who signed the petition referenced earlier. I'm actually here to extend an invitation to the Select Board. This Sunday, September 21st at 2 p.m. at the Wells Activity Center, the local Wells Democracy in Action Group is sponsoring a local Sing for Unity event in recognition of International Day of Peace. Sing for Unity is a nationwide project, and people across the country will be gathering to sing around peace at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock Pacific. And we really hope that some of you can come. We're very fortunate to have some guest singers. You don't have to be a singer to be with us. So Joyce Anderson, who is a singer and songwriter, and the Princeton Multinational Girls Choir is coming down from Portland. I'm going to leave a couple of flyers on the table. We hope some of you are able to join us. Thank you.
Anyone else wishes to address? Yeah, you're.
Sue Butler, 2 topics. On the upcoming Walker Rider mower for the rec center, I just have a question, I just want to make sure that it gets asked, or you consider it anyway. For the rec center, will that mean that the rec center will have to hire someone to operate the standing riding mower? I just want to make sure that we're asking second and third order effects when we look at things to make, because that's one way that hidden growth occurs in our budgets and in our personnel. And I just kind of like to see more exploration of second and third order effects in every topic. And the other thing is, and I know I've talked to a couple of you offline in the past, but I feel like we don't get meaningful advance notice about public hearings. I mean, we get the notice, no question about it. I mean, we get that squared away. But we don't find out what the issue is, especially on a complex one. We don't get a read-ahead packet. We find out, we don't get prepped ahead of time. We get the topic kind of cold. And then we don't have a chance to look at research and any ideas or alternatives or anything like that. Then we have 180 seconds to give our input cold, like right off the top of our, and then, so we're really ill-prepared, and then the public hearing closes and you vote. So, it could be a complex topic, and we've, we're caught like, what? And then that's that, and you vote. So there's really no chance for us to think about it, really, at all. And then we can't participate in the workshops. Now, well, sometimes I'm lucky enough to catch the discussion, sometimes I'm not, and it's like, crap. And then we don't, so we really can't participate, and we don't know what the benefits and the risks are until after you start talking about it, but now the hearing's closed, and it's like, no, can't talk about it. So that we don't really have that citizen engagement. And so I've heard other towns, and they say, no, we can't vote on that, it's a public hearing. So they wait. They wait a week or two. I don't know what the period is, but they don't vote on the night of a public hearing. And I know that kind of slows down the train of very, very slow government, as it already is. And so that's terrible. But I would suggest that at least on a complex topic, get a read-ahead packet out or wait a week so that, people have half a chance to like absorb it and maybe get just some input that makes sense or like they can think about it. Because I like those other towns' philosophy. They give the citizenry a chance, just a chance. All right? Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Anyone else from the public wish to address? Seeing none, we'll move on to current agenda items. We're gonna review and action on accounts payable, advance check, and payroll warrants.
Does everyone know set to write for motion?
Yeah.
I move, are you ready? Okay. I move to approve and sign the warrant dated September 16th, 2025 in the amount of $2,374.75. The general assistance warrant dated September 16th, 2025 in the amount of $3,000,000. Okay, that was backwards, it's backwards in here, okay, I'm like, wait a minute, okay, I'm gonna start that again,
like, wow.
okay. I move to approve and sign the general assistance warrant dated September 16th, 2025 in the amount of $2,374.75. And I move to approve and sign the warrant dated September 16th, 2025 in the amount of $3,944,405.53. And the advance check warrant dated September 10th, 2025 in the amount of $58,299.96.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0, Cindy, thank you. Next up, we have update and discussion and action on committees, projects, issues, purchases, and personnel. The first one being discussion action on a bid award for the Recreations Walker Riding Mower. How you doing, Tina?
Hi, good.
Thanks for coming in. So go ahead, tell us.
So we went out to bid for the mower that we requested and was approved during the CIP process. We only received one bidder, which was the Walker mower from Abbott. So we are asking that we accept that bid for a total of $20,000. And we did put aside over $24,000. And that's through the enterprise account.
Just to answer Sue's question, will we be hiring somebody, or do we have people that are already?
We already have people, we already have people, we have a maintenance guy that does all our fields, and this is just a replacement mower for the one we have.
And this mower is a replacement of a one that's worn out.
Correct.
Is it a similar piece of equipment or does it do anything extra, anything
It does
special?
do something extra, thank you for asking. I like that, it
Starts.
has a little snow blower attachment to it, so that's going to help us tremendously for our ice rink and our, parking lot and little pathways and stuff, instead of having to pull out the old walking behind. Not that the exercise isn't good, but sometimes it's better to have a rider.
Very
So.
nice.
Awesome. Anything else? John, do you have anything?
More.
All right.
And I'd just like to note that in the budget, there was $25,000 allocated to this and we're only
Yeah,
spending
it was
20.
actually through the enterprise account, so it's not through taxation.
I think you got a pretty good trade-in value too.
We always do, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, see,
All right.
no more, take a motion.
Okay, I move to accept the bid from Abbott's Power Equipment for a total cost of $20,000 for the Walker Riding Mower for the Recreation Department.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor? 5-0, Cindy, thank you, Tina, thanks for
Thank
coming out.
you.
Next up, we have discussion and action to consider an offer of a gift of $50,000 by Mr. Howard Hall for the hydraulic and capacity analysis of Drake's Island floodgate performed by Atar Engineering.
If I may, Mr. Chair, the board will remember a couple of meetings ago, Mr. Hall stood before us and talked about the need for the floodgate to have this analysis done. And at that time, he made a very generous offer of $50,000 to have Atar Engineering perform that work, who originally did the work back 20 years ago probably. And before you is a proposal from Mr. Ken Wood of Atar. And working with legal counsel to make sure that the logistics for the board to be able to accept a gift of this nature. Pursuant to the charter, the board is allowed to accept gifts. Working with the purchase policy and the charter, we are allowed, you, the board, the town, is allowed to accept the gift and from a sole provider. However, that needs to go before public hearing. And so that's why you're asked tonight. You'll see attached to here, Mr. Hall has already submitted a check for $50,000. Mr. Wood has issued a proposal not to exceed $50,000. And working with town council, that's our legal counsel, we wanted to make sure that the town was not subject to, if the project went over 50, that we, the town, might have to expend more. Mr. Wood assures that this is a ceiling price, and Leah has advised that the board move to public hearing in case anyone objects to an offer of $50,000 for this initiative for next meeting, and then you can vote to receive if you so choose.
It's extremely generous.
Yes, very generous.
Any questions?
I move to schedule a public hearing on October 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m. 208 Sanford Road in the Littlefield Meeting Room on a proposed gift of $50,000 by Mr. Howard Hall for a hydrologic and capacity analysis of the Drake's Island floodgate to be performed by the Atar Engineering Incorporated.
Second. Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, discussion and action to schedule another public hearing on accepting a $350,000 grant from the Land for Maine Future Trust Fund and executing all documents, including covenants and restrictions on the 3 town-owned conservation parcels, tax map 29 lot 5, tax map 46 lot 14, and tax map 39 lot 14. Michael, how are we doing tonight?
Good evening.
I didn't see you come in, that was pretty good, you snuck in, alright. Alright, you wanna key us up here?
That would be great, yes, this is been a project that's in process for quite a while. The last time you met on it was mid-June, I believe, sometime along that period. Maybe I'll give a quick reminder and overview of it. The town purchased this 31-acre parcel off Perry Oliver Road end of last year for conservation purposes. And prior to that, the Conservation Commission had worked with the Land for Maine Future Board to get a grant for the purchase of that property. Getting the grant and establishing the grant goes through an approval process with them. And part of that approval process involves including other town conservation lands as matching lands to work with their grant system for the $350,000 grant that the town would be getting from them. So as part of their process, the 31 acres owned by the town, but would have some restrictive covenants placed on it, that they have some oversight to make sure it is maintained as conservation land. As part of the grant, the town would also be doing the same with this parcel over here off Bill's Lane, that is about a 5.4 acre parcel that the town purchased years ago as well as for conservation purposes. And the other parcel is that parcel, which is larger, and the town also purchased through town vote and approval for conservation land. So the 3 parcels involved are already designated conservation parcels that were purchased by the town. But this would add another layer of restrictions and covenants on the property that would be going to the Land for Maine Future group in exchange for getting the $350,000 grant. So the process included, we already had land survey, boundary surveys of each of the parcels. The town had to do an ESA study for each parcel to make sure there's no harmful materials on the properties that have been vacant for a very long time, old wooden farmland, so there was nothing found on any of the parcels. And that's part of their process as well. Appraisals were done to justify the cost and the value of the land. So it was a process and went through that over several months. The last portion was to have the project agreement, which establishes the restrictions and covenants on the land, reviewed by their attorneys. I had reviewed it, made comments. They had addressed many of the comments and put additional language in the project agreement, because they're on this parcel, it's right along the future Eastern Trail route, which is the old railroad bed that cuts through this whole area. And we wanted to make sure there was an area reserved for a potential parking lot for the Eastern Trail. You know, maybe it'll never get built, but we wanted to have that option. So within the exhibits, a sketch that I produced is included on that property. Also on the Perry Oliver Road parcel as well. That's another potential spot for a public parking lot to access the Eastern Trail. Currently, I don't believe it's part of the budgeted project that's gonna start either into this year or into next year to actually build this section of the Eastern Trail. But the town owns the land and it is an area that's not exempt from the project agreement, but they've acknowledged that that is a future potential plan to be included on those parcels. The town attorney did look at this back in, I think, April, when we started with this process started before that. But we had the town attorney look at it in April. She did look at the revisions that were made since the June meeting that we had. But it's, the grant has all been pre-approved with Land for Maine Future Board. So the last step is really to conduct a public hearing and then for the board to make the final decision to authorize the town manager to sign the project agreement.
Any questions?
So, yeah, you know
Yeah,
that,
yep.
okay. You know that I've had problems with this because I feel that when people donate property to the town of Wells for conservation, and it's supposed to be, and the attorney, when we asked her before, said that our conservation is as good as the state's is. So we're basically selling the control of that land for the covenants and all that for $350,000, land that people already donated to the town of Wells. So the town of Wells is reselling that, and the,
Well, we purchased we paid money for each of
Right.
those parcels. I
Right.
believe the owners did give us very good bargains on them.
yes,
because
that's
they
what
were
that
empty.
usually happens, I
Yes.
know. But they do it for a reason, yeah, they give, some of them are given and some of them are done for a lower price, with the belief that it's gonna be conservation land, that's the reason why people do it. And there's just something about this that makes me very uncomfortable, that we're taking land that was in good faith, either sold for a reduced rate or given to the town of Wells, and having another entity, the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. And that's worked so well along the marshland for our ability to walk out there or anything. So that's the only concern I have. I think I'm very uncomfortable with it. I can't support it. I understand why. Town people don't have to, they can get this other piece of property for $350,000 and there's a grant that's given for that. But there is a grant given for it because they're also getting the control of that land. I just want that understood. It's not a free gift. It's a gift with covenants and restrictions that are then governed by the Department of Inland Fisheries and Inland and Fisheries.
That is the designated state agency that is
That's the
named
state.
in the project agreement.
Right.
Yep.
The state is going to be taking it over instead of the town.
Well, the town still owns it. It
The
is
town owns it,
land.
but they don't have control of it.
No, we have control of it. It's just if we wanna add trails, they get to review the trail plan and approve it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
with approval from, what if they don't approve?
Well, they'd have to do it based on some impact to a habitat. So if the trail was gonna go through a vernal pool of special significance, they would object to that and you wouldn't be able to put a trail through something of that nature, or even through other wetlands. So if you came up with a trail plan, it's gonna have to meet certain requirements that they do set.
And I understand that, and of course, we have a bridge on Purvis Road that got rebuilt 3 times because of the control of not being, of the land on either side being in the control of the state and the Department of Inland Fisheries and the Army Corps of Engineers. And we had to rebuild that bridge 3 times for the reason of some fish might not be able to swim at a certain time of the year back to their pool. So, that it's just, I'm uncomfortable with it and I understand it. I know that everybody wants to get a $350,000, but that comes with restrictions. Thank you.
Yeah, Owen is, Gremlin is here as well, and I saw him want to speak up there for a second, but I'll say what I think he was gonna say. The fact of the matter is, it does not by putting all those parcels in to get the $350,000, it does not change the condition of the property as conservation land. And there's no way to take that covenant off that property. So I don't see the risk.
No, I agree, it's in conservation land already. So now the state's gonna do it, we're selling it for $350,000, so the state can say, now it's really in conservation land. It's just, and they have the ultimate say. That's all.
This is just, to schedule a public hearing.
We're
We'll have
scheduling a
more
public
discussion on
hearing,
this, so
right.
We don't have to go
Okay.
too
Right.
much in depth, so
Yeah,
we're just trying to
okay.
schedule a public hearing here, so.
Okay,
You
are we
don't
ready?
wanna, if you wanna make the motion.
I
if you
do,
don't. Okay.
yep. I move to schedule a public hearing on October 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m. 208 Sanford Road in the Littlefield Meeting Room on accepting a $350,000 grant from the Land for Maine Future Trust Fund and executing all documents including covenants and restrictions on 3 town-owned conservation parcels, tax map 29 lot 5, tax map 46 lot 14, and tax map 39 lot 14.
Second. To move to second, all those in favor? 5-0. Next up, we have discussion action to schedule informational public hearings on the referendum articles to be voted by secret ballot on November 4th, 2025. Dates for consideration are October 7th and October 21st. Michael, let's just go with it.
Just go with it.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, I move to schedule an informational public hearing on October 7th and October 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. 208 Sanford Road in the Littlefield Meeting Room on the referendum articles to be voted by secret ballot on November 4th, 2025.
Second. It's moved and second, all those in favor? 5-0. Next up, discussion and action on a resolution in support of the proposed trail of the Kennebunk, Port and Wells Water District land. This something.
This was brought forward by Avery, and perhaps you wanna offer?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, Jim and I were invited to tour KKW Water District's property. It's on the Sanford side of the town line, so it's not on our side, but they're just asking for our support as they move forward in getting a matching grant for the project. So KKW is working on it with the town of Sanford, and they're moving forward to try and get it built. It's a pretty nice piece of land. It's very pretty, and it needs minimal improvements, some grading and some parking. I think they were looking at, and some bollards and stuff like that. So it's located, where is it? It's on Sam Allen Road?
At the end of Sam Allen Road, across the street,
Yeah.
is the KNW property. And they have existing trails there that people hike now. They're fairly level. They have some drainage problems, but there's adequate draining nearby as the site ride that we did showed. And the interesting thing of this, it's a connection between Route 99 and 109. And I'm out there, I ride my bike out that way sometimes, I'm coming up 99 and to come out to the end of 99 and take, that's a dangerous intersection. So I can see myself actually using this connection quite a few times now.
the old Hawks Canyon.
The blue one would be
Yeah.
the old Hawks
Yeah,
Canyon.
Hawks
Oh,
Canyon,
oh,
yeah.
The red one's
So
where that boat's
this-
at right now.
Map here, this is basically a bicycle trail map existing and proposed in Sanford.
Mhm.
And what their goal is, if you can see this blue added line, they know the Eastern Trail is coming someday, and they're trying to find a way to connect it to their trail system.
Good idea.
So that's what this thing is all about. So when they approached Avery and I to do a site walk, we immediately saw.
So those trails are out there now for to walk on,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, I wanna go on that. I
so
love that.
it's and I think they're going for funding, and they'd like a resolution saying that we support it.
Sure,
Sure.
I think it's a great idea.
John, you have any reservations? No, okay.
I move to approve and sign the resolution in support of a proposed trail on the KK&W Water District land.
Second?
Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0, thanks, Jim and Avery.
Thank you guys.
Next up is discussion and action to adopt the annual disbursement warrant policy.
That was nice.
This is really just procedural, I think it speaks for itself.
Okay.
I move to adopt the annual disbursement warranty policy.
Second, sorry.
No, it's all right. So moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0. All right, next up, we have discussion action to accept donations requests, because all the requests are for 125, and all to the Founder's Park. I'm gonna just say the one time and then read names afterwards. 125 from Nancy Pino to the Town of Wells for the Founder's Park community, from Rita Colton, from Adam Hopkins, from Beverly Essen, from Nancy Colley, to Francis Tangway, and from James Bryan, all going to the Town of Wells for the Founder's Park Community Center.
I move to accept the generous donations and write letters of thanks to the donors.
Just to clarify, that's Francine Tangway.
Oh, sorry, Francine, my mistake. Thank you.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor? 5-0. Discussion and action to approve the minutes of the September 2nd, 2025 Selectmen meeting. Seeing any issues with the minutes here?
I move for approval of the September 2nd, 2025 Selectmen Meeting minutes.
Second?
Moved second, all those in favor? 5-0, Cindy, thank you. Next up, we have, once again, open to the public. We have a 10-minute period here where we're open to the public. If anybody would like to address us again? I wasn't staring at you, so I
saw the evil eye.
there was no evil, there's no evil intent
There
whatsoever.
was great expectation.
I actually like public comment.
I'll give you a break.
Anyone? Seeing none, we'll move on to the town manager's report.
Thank you very much. We had at our department head meeting today, a few highlights that we wanted to acknowledge. This year, there have been 190 recorded tax liens, and to show kind of a compare and contrast with that, in 2024, we had 178. In 2023, we had 175, and in 2022, there were 186. So we're really very consistent along those lines. Fire department reports that they've had 1,207 calls for service, recent structure fire in Lyman, a structure fire on Eldridge Road, and their first electric vehicle fire on the Turnpike, which they handled very effectively. Those can be very difficult because oftentimes they just won't go out. But they had some success. Nice to acknowledge the fire department is now an official American Heart Association training site, which is really nice. Everyone in our area will be training through that platform. So I think just the consistency in training is really great. Mike York reports he'll be contacting mooring holders to notify them that non-commercial boats must be removed by October 15th. In preparation for the upcoming dredge, which may start as early as November 15th. So that's still in the works, and so Mike's making sure that people are out of the way. The hiring process in the police department for the positions that have been allocated by the voters. We have some conditional offers to go out. I know tomorrow I'm engaged in a couple of interviews, second interviews for those positions. And then Steve Buckley will be interviewing tomorrow for the open equipment operator position. We have some very high skilled applicants. So hopefully that'll go well, and I hope to be able to do the second interview this week for the recommendation that comes forward for that. Coles Hill Road paving is complete from the turnpike to just before the railroad crossing. Striping is also complete on Perry Oliver Road and Coles Hill Road, with shoulder work still remaining on Coles Hill Road. Crews are preparing Buzzell Road for paving and culvert work, which will take place shortly. We've had some drainage issues on Furbish Road and the Turnpike area, and they're being addressed. And progress continues on the Robinson Road project. The retention pond work will begin soon. The clearing has all been completed. Mary Beth reports from the town clerk's office. Absentee ballots for the November 4th election will be available starting October 6th. The 2026 dog licenses will be available starting October 15th. I mentioned the employee appreciation event. The EV show that took place on Sunday was a great success despite some rain. Strong turnout from EV owners and spectators. And the Veterans Affairs met on September 3rd to discuss numerous upcoming events, as well as an ongoing initiative to update and clean the memorial at Ocean View Cemetery. And staff will be enjoying a wellness luncheon coming up this week at DPW for people run over for their lunch there. And I understand there might be some very interesting chili dishes and all that they'll partake in. The volunteer appreciation breakfast, we have invitations will be going out soon to our many, many wonderful volunteers. And that event will be on Friday, October 24th at 9 a.m. at the Johnson Hall Museum. And then we're beginning our planning for the holiday tree lighting. Notice I said our, but Rebecca's doing all the work. But that's going very well. Couple other things I wanted to highlight. Portsmouth Naval Shipyard oftentimes provides us information about the number of employees that they have that come from Wells. I was staggered to recognize there's 262 folks from Wells that work at the shipyard. And that annual payroll equates to just over $26 million. So a great economic component of our community. And I wanted to recognize Officer McDonald. A nice email from a citizen recognizing for going above and beyond and helping me when my car keys were mistakenly taken at Washing Wells today. You are so appreciated, written to Officer McDonald, and the gentleman who returned them in a couple of hours later restored my faith in mankind. They are called accidents for a reason. And then we oftentimes receive acknowledgements for the newsletter, and this person wrote to Rebecca and said, I want to express my appreciation for the outstanding communication contained in the newsletter. I recently built my dream home on my grandmother's land, and I'm residing out of state until I fully retire. The newsletter keeps me informed of the happenings in Wells, and I know it takes a lot of work to put together. Another example that Wells is staffed by committed professionals who care about the community. I thought that was a very, very nice letter. And lastly, I'd like to share that we did our tax commitment late yesterday, so breaking news. We had projected a mill rate for 2026 at $6.49. I'm happy to say that we came in under that number at $6.46. That's based on some good work by our assessing department, which was able to identify some added value, which helps to reduce that. What's very interesting, as I believe, certainly at this point, all of the towns who have made commitment, meaning set their tax rate, Wells remains with the lowest tax rate in York County and much of Cumberland. We don't have all the numbers in from all of our neighboring communities, but I would say at this point, the community that's closest to our number of 646 would be Ogunquit at $6.73, and their ratio is at 90%. Our town is at 100%. And so sometimes that can be a little misleading. But we have neighbors next to us that have a mill rate of $17.10 at a 92% ratio. And I can go up and down the list, but I would feel very proud to say that our numbers are very, very good. And I thank all of you, and I thank the Budget Committee and the public. I think we are in a great position for the service level we offer. So thank you.
Next up, we have select board comments, subcommittee reports, or individual select board member comments.
Can I just say, Bufham's Hill is amazing right now.
Pretty smooth.
Well, I feel like I'm going through an airport now, you know, it's really, and yeah, looks great. Is that the final? That's
If that's the final, no sledding in the winter though, they said no, do
Yeah,
that. It is nice, it
It
came out
is
well.
nice, and I'm so glad about Pine Ledge because that's been decades coming. So that's really good too, thank you. And I hate to say that, but it is Kittery Shipyard. Not Portsmouth. I'm sorry.
Okay, I got it. The Naval Shipyard in Maine reports.
Yeah,
And you got anything? No?
I got a, you go ahead.
You bet.
Okay, I got so basically, John Lillibridge from the Energy Committee received an email that he forwarded to me from a gentleman named Jackson Chadwick, who's with a group called Maine Youth for Climate Justice. He wants to share some information with the board about LD 1870. And as I understand it, the aim of the bill is to create a super fund, which is only for like storm damage repairs. And that fund would be collected from large corporate polluters rather than from taxpayers, like what we have to do now to repair our storm damage. So I discussed this with Mike, and he suggested that I bring it to you all before we invite him to present over Zoom.
I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Kathy?
We're pretty busy. What do we have for any openings for coming up? I mean, between now and after the November.
I'm about to ask you if you can meet on September
Right,
30th
that's why
for
I'm
two
thinking, right.
workshops from
If I
4:30
think
to.
if there's information that they can forward to us, that would be fine.
Okay,
Well, I'd like a presentation because I'd like to be able to ask questions.
I agree. I think a Zoom meeting would be interesting.
Do you have anything you want to say, John? I guess I'm more struggling the way this was done. It's like,
Yeah, we don't
I've
really-
never done this before, so I'm not
Doing it like this.
in this area. I would like to have talked about it, but
I mean, that's the purpose of bringing it to you right now is instead of just scheduling it on the agenda. That's the idea, is to bring it to you before, so you have time to think about it, you know.
Yeah, well, that's really unfortunate.
How so?
Well, because before we have time to think about it,
Well,
oh,
I mean, so that you have time to think about it
Oh.
before we invite him to present.
so we have time to think about it.
Yeah, he's
You don't
not-
need an answer tonight.
He's not
Okay. I thought you wanted an answer right this second.
no,
I
we're
would
just
have to-
just interested in getting a tentative time frame for him to come in.
Thank you.
thank you for that, of course.
Okay, I have basically two things. I had an Eastern Trail Management District meeting last week. And that section from Pratt and Whitney to Perry Oliver was originally scheduled for 2026. It's pushed off into the beginning to mid 2027 to begin construction. So that's a heads up that we have between now and then to try to get the 10% matching funds by some means. So that's in progress. The second thing is I started on the Wells Reserve Board because of the liaisonship. And I was invited by Paul Dest and Vic, whose last name now escapes me, for an orientation session. And they had book that thick, which I of course read before I went out there. That's just the way I am. And in that discussion, he mentioned that there's some grant that they could apply for that would be almost like a slam dunk. But in order for them to get that grant, we would have to have an endorsement of some association. I called Paul this week, but he's away till the end of the month. So I'm gonna get more information on that for you. I'm just giving you early heads up on that.
Anything else?
Everything, John?
Nope.
John, anything? Just real quick on a school, two things that coming up. Next week is homecoming week, which is a bunch of events going on, but there'll be a parade. At 4:30, I think, it might, 5 o'clock, I think, 5 o'clock, through from the junior high up to the high school, and then the week after is our veterans, our Mike Geyer Salute to Armed Forces Night. Big night at the school, with the entire place decorated, and then a lot of our vets comes, and you're excited for it. Also a dinner now, Rotary and the football team gotten together, and we're gonna have a veterans dinner at the school before the game for those veterans and family members. And then we have the whole event coming, and it's quite a night if you can join us, and if you know a vet that would love to be honored, that's what we love to have is it's just a night, it's not political, it's not anything, but to thank our vets for their service, and that's all the night is. So we invite you all to come. If you go on the school website, I believe, you could see a registration, you can register that night also, so we hope to see you all there. That's it for me. Next up, adjournment. Nobody wants to adjourn?
Okay, make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
I thought we had something else to do.
Oh, it's been moved in second, all those in favor?
I'm hungry.
Okay, I know.
Since when do we get out of here before 7?
I know.